Good morning. Welcome to the This Week Experience New Jersey Team podcast. This morning, I'd like to welcome Risha Walden. Hi, Risha. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Good. Well, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
I wanted to do just a little bit of intro. So Risha is the founder and principal designer at Walden Interiors. She's based in New Jersey and really specializes in a very unique niche, which is luxury vegan interior design. And she has several different services, which we'll go into as we have a conversation. But I was lucky to have Risha recently be a sponsor and vendor at our Quest conference, which is a real estate conference that we have here in New Jersey for real estate agents and brokers. And just had a great conversation about her story and how her aesthetic is really molded by her living and traveling abroad. And I love that, what you keep it simple, right? You bring beauty and balance to the lives of your clients. So with that, I just wanted to, to have you kind of introduce yourself and kind of give us a little recap of how you came to, to be a luxury vegan interior designer. And then we can talk about some of the services.
Sure. Thank you so much, Caroline, for having me. And your Quest conference, by the way, was fantastic. I learned so much, even though I know it was for realtors and brokers. Even as a small business owner, I took a lot of value from it. And I sat in on the talks, etc.
I love that. Thank you.
So I've been an interior designer for about 13 years. And doing luxury interiors for mainly residential homes, from New York, Palm Springs, Vancouver, New Jersey, Vermont. And about 7 years ago, I became vegan. And I quickly realized how prolific animal products were used in interior design. It's really funny because all of a sudden I knew that there's all these animal products, and what happened prior to that, I don't know. Why didn't I know that? But it became so apparent to me. And I decided that I had chosen to be vegan and not eat any animal products, but yet I was selling animal products. And I thought, that's hypocritical. What the heck? I need to align these two things, my personal life and my business life. That's what balance is, and be authentic is. And I just didn't feel like I could sell animal products anymore. So I switched over to only offering cruelty-free products for my interiors, the residential homes that I do. And it's not been that difficult. I haven't had to compromise people's aesthetic. I haven't had to not had to do something because of an animal product. Yes, I have to spend more time because I have to really vet my products, and I have to really vet the elements that I put into the home. But with the developments, and there's been a boom in veganism in the last couple of years, particularly, that although it hasn't really hit like veganism over in interior design, it has sort of definitely has influenced some of the choices that the manufacturers are doing, such as the introduction of vegan leathers. But part of that too is because now they can offer a leather comparable that can be used outside. So it's not just because, oh, hey, let's be vegan, but I don't care. I'm just glad because it's one more opportunity to use a nonviolent, cruelty-free product in a space, and that's my goal, really. So part of my mission is to educate and bring awareness about veganism, and even if it just opens some eyes or makes people think twice or think about it, I've done my job, and it makes me happy.
Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, it's starting the conversation, right? And just by meeting you, and I think Ralph Tarnofsky made an introduction to us maybe a year ago, and you know, I remember like it piqued my interest. I was like, oh, vegan design, like that's, you know, that's a new thing. So I think you're doing, you know, what you've set out to do, which is to kind of raise awareness, and you know, create more conversations around this topic. And so, you know, how do you go about finding these manufacturers? I mean, are there expos where they show their stuff, or are they just kind of like you know, a subsidiary of the manufacturers that are already out there?
So there's no real, like, this is a vegan furniture manufacturer or vegan upholstery company. I have to just be very selective
Mhm.
in the ones that I choose. I ask a lot of questions. I've brought a lot of awareness to the companies that I use because they never think about it. And while some of the materials that we use in interior design are very apparently vegan, non-vegan, I should say. Like leather would be one that everybody say, "Oh yeah, okay, well that's an animal product." Wool, such as we use in our carpets or upholstery material, silk, um, down is a big one. People don't even think about down because you don't even see it. It's inside the pillows, inside your duvet, inside your sofa seats. So that one's used a lot. Bone,
Mhm.
shell,
Yeah,
horn.
I would have
So
never thought about those
yeah,
because, you know, well, for example, you know, and this may be so ignorant of me, but for, you know, for wool, like I figured they shear them, you know, they shear the coat off, but they don't necessarily, you know, kill the animal for it. But yeah, and then silk never occurred to me that, you know, but very much so that
right,
silkworm is in danger. And
right.
um,
And
but
it's, there's no way to acquire an animal product without violence because it's considered a product. It's not considered a sentient being, like you mentioned about the wool. The shearers, they don't make money by, gently taking care of the sheep and making sure. I mean, they're on a time
mhm,
clock and they are shearing as quickly and as fast as possible. And animals are abused and hurt and kicked. And then we are also um, breeding them for
mhm,
that purpose. It's not like, well, they're out in there in the wild and we're going to just help them with their coats. We're breeding animals that have uh, a lot more wrinkles in their skin because it gives more surface area. And the
mhm.
more surface area gives you more product.
Wow.
Um, and so you can imagine that shaving something that is crinkly versus shaving something flat is a different thing. But um, that's not taken into consideration. So
Yeah.
um, that's why wool, you know, seems like, oh yeah, well, we're just helping the animals. No, we're not. And is it anybody knows?
I mean,
Like,
that's it. Yeah, because it's such a it's so built into our society that we don't question it, right?
right,
Like kids have cheeseburgers. They don't think about nobody thinks deeply about what they're putting in their mouth or, you know, so
exactly.
and I
Yeah,
think everybody, I guess, has their own journey and
hmm,
timeline for kind of
absolutely.
becoming awake about these things.
Yeah,
And yeah, so thank you for kind of doing your part in that.
yeah. I never, 7 years ago, I wasn't thinking of these things.
Right.
So I'm just glad that I had the opportunity and made this switch for me. And I'm happy, not just for me, but for the animals, for the
Yeah.
environment. Um, so that makes me happy. And, I feel empowered every day. Make a decision. It's an empowered decision because that decision is going to impact and create the kind of world that I want to live in.
Yeah.
And I want it to be cruelty free.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about peace and how we want peace in the world. Well, that's got to come all the way down to the core. I mean, to everything that we do. And so until we can have, it's got to be across all stratosphere. Anyways, I get very passionate about it because,
I know, and I think that's, you know, that's living in your purpose, you know, and your passion. That's important. So I guess let's kind of bring the conversation to the kind of two types of services that you do. So when let's talk about just interior design in general. So let's say, because really the way that I see it is you can help people make their space a sanctuary. And then your other service is helping current homeowners kind of edit and refresh their home to prepare it for sale, which is the service that we really appreciate because
Right.
it's important to put your best foot forward. But let's start with your design and how do your clients find you? And do you find yourself educating your clients quite often? And how do you work with them in tandem to create their sanctuary?
Sure. Clients come to me from all places: referrals, Google searches, some marketing that I do, etc. Um, and for my luxury interior design service, um, they're not necessarily coming to me because I'm a vegan interior designer, but I like to think, well, you got the added bonus that I'm a vegan interior designer. I've had a couple of people come and work with me as a vegan interior designer, which is great, and that makes me so excited. But in terms of just the regular client that comes in, they're not. I'm creating a sanctuary for them, and to me, the energy that you bring into your home is just as important to as the product that to create beauty, because there's nothing beautiful about cruelty. There's nothing beautiful about that. So not only do am I able to create this beautiful environment that represents the client, my client, and the homeowner. But I can do it in such a way that the energy that they bring in is uh, rejuvenating and allows them to enjoy their best life. Now, our homes are probably the largest single investment we'll ever make for most people. And so I think it's so important to really take advantage, but to really make that work for you. Your home should work for you. So it's not just about being beautiful, it's got to be functional, and it's got to be functional for you and your lifestyle. That's so important, because you could go in, you can say, wow, this room is so beautiful, but it's so uncomfortable because the seats don't work, not that comfortable, and there's not enough lighting, and I like to put my feet up, and I feel scrunched over in the corner here. So functionality is really a key of for creating, to, hand in hand with beauty.
Yeah.
So
I
for my
During
yes,
COVID, a lot of people were kind of rethinking, their spaces and really, if we're going to be stuck here, we better like it. We better
yeah,
get to our liking and really reassessing what worked for them, what didn't, what brought peace and good energy and what didn't.
right. What should work for them? Because it's crazy, you're like, okay, well, I'll just kind of scooch over here and use that, and yeah, I'll kind of put my papers over here, and we don't have enough storage, so I'll just kind of, like, that makes no sense. You've now spent all your money on this house, and you have to work for the house continually. I mean, we know that there are repairs and maintenance that you have to do, but why not do that to a space that completely improves your life and helps your life and makes you feel, when you come home, especially when we coming back from the chaos of being outside and the stresses of work, etc. The home should really come, comfort you and make you remember why, what you're doing and who you are and the abundance life that you've created. These are all important things that are, I think, important, that are go hand in hand with beauty in interior design. So that's my goal, is that my client should come in, and not only should they say, wow, this is beautiful and it works so well, and man, it not only has it allowed us to use this room more, but now we're using it for this and this, and it's so comfortable. Those are all those added benefits of design.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but design, creating a home for a homeowner is very different from the design, listing design refresh that you spoke about, that I help for homeowners that are looking to sell, or for realtors that are helping to um, get their clients' home sold fast.
Yeah. Let's dive into that. Yeah. Tell
Yeah.
us kind of what
So
does that entail?
yeah. So design for a residence is meant to for a room is meant to really draw people into the room and have them sit and stay in the room. And that's really important for interior design. But when we're talking about uh, a listing design refresh, what we want to do is for people to see the room, to be drawn in, but not necessarily to go in and sit down and enjoy the room, but to be able to flow through the room and have their own imagination in the space. So they should be able to see themselves sitting on the sofa and their pictures up on the wall and them um, enjoying a fire or a dinner around the table. They should be able to envision that. And um, homeowners, I mean, everybody, we all collect stuff because the stuff reminds us of our life and their memories. And that doesn't really serve to sell a home because those memories are the homeowner's memories. And those are very particular for the homeowner. Yes, they can be decorative and they can be beautiful, but often there's a lot or more than necessary for looking at a home as a prospective buyer. You want to be able to allow that prospective buyer to come in and see themselves in the home. And when there's too many things, when the layout is really more conducive to sitting around and enjoying as a family, rather than walking through and seeing how the room lays out.
And the potential for them, like leaving the room for their imagination for how it will work for them,
Yes.
and not, telling them this room is exactly this and you should have your chair here and
Right.
but like leaving it empty enough, that it's inspirational and they can kind of decide for themselves what they want that room to be.
Yeah. So it's really, for me, it's curating the homeowner's collection, rethinking the floor plan, because I have to think that not only is it going to allow the prospective buyer to come in and see the home for themselves as their prospective possible home, but the homeowner still has to enjoy the space. They're still going to be living there. It's very unusual for homeowners to move out and then wait and have the home sold. That happens sometimes, but I would say the majority of the time, homeowners, family is living there, and so they want to have their things around them. They still want to be able to use the rooms and the home for their life. So it's really trying to balance those two needs.
Yeah.
But the ultimate goal is to clean up, refresh, make it open and inviting for somebody else to come in and see the home as theirs.
Yeah, no, I love that. And there is such a need for that because over the years, when I have consultations with my clients, there's really a spectrum of what people are willing to do to get their house ready for sale. I mean, some people maybe have a second home or a vacation home where they can, empty their house, completely stage it with all new brand, like a stager brings in everything new.
Right.
And that happens in new construction as well. But it is not, it is not the majority because, people do need to continue living in their home,
Yeah.
or they don't necessarily have the budget to pay for full,
Right.
Full staging of their home. And so this is a really happy medium because, you do need to depersonalize, and often I find that my clients have a hard time doing that. They
Right.
don't know which things to edit. And so, this is why I wanted to have you on
Sure.
the podcast and kind of, have this introduction and explanation of what you do, because I want my clients to understand that, you are an objective person with an eye for design, that also knows that the objective is to sell their home and depersonalize it. And can just really kind of edit things down to exactly where they need to be for the sale, but also still be functional for them as a family and still feel like they're home, for the time being. So,
Right. And like you say, staging is an expensive proposition, and it's not always viable for the homeowner. So this is using existing homeowners' furnishings and decor, and trying to edit so that, yes, they don't have to go out and purchase new things and get a whole thousands of dollars in staging material. Sometimes I do suggest this item or a new rug or painting, but the goal is to take that to bring me in as a third party expert. So the realtor is not the bad guy, because we all click stuff. We're all terrible at editing it and getting rid of it, and we all have these personal memories to it. So having someone, an expert, tell you that, okay, let's make this work, versus a realtor coming in, well, you need to get rid of your stuff, because it's not stuff to someone else, it's treasures.
Right.
Um, but having it come from a third party takes the burden off of the realtor.
Yeah.
I'm an expert. I know what I'm talking about. So, and then I physically will do it in the couple of hours that we have marked out. So the transformation can happen very quickly. I concentrate on the main spaces, and it's funny because a lot of times when I'm done, the homeowner will be like, "Wow, this place looks so good. I didn't know." And like, yeah,
Yeah.
there's
It's kind of you going through the house, kind of spreading your fairy magic all over.
right,
And then,
exactly.
so I think I just wanted to highlight that service, because I think that, for a minimal cost, to have you come in for 2 hours consultation, where you're very hands-on and
Yes,
you actually start putting things in motion, and then give recommendations. And then you have a few add-on services to that, which can include, shopping for a few items if necessary,
right.
and all of that. But I think it's a great service, and I know that we're going to be, offering that to our clients this year for sure, as an alternative. Because I've been known to kind of do it myself. I've worked with stagers over the years, but there has to be kind of a divide, because my clients really see me as their realtor, their advisor, and I don't want them to be offended by my recommendations or anything like that. And I like to keep our interaction on the marketing and all of that. And prepping the home for sale is an emotional process, and I'd rather put it in your hands, your capable
Mhm.
hands, than also leave the burden to them to do it,
Right.
because they don't really know where to start. And so,
No, it can
so
be very overwhelming for a homeowner to start and not knowing, because if they thought that, okay, there was a better layout for their home, they might have done it anyways, but clearly they don't, because that's the layout that they have. So it's like, okay, and like I mentioned, it's not just the layout for the use of the home. It's a totally different perspective of the home. It's about inviting people through versus into the home room and sitting down, and that's not a perspective most people are looking at in their home.
right. Well, the Experience New Jersey team really focuses on the train line towns in northern New Jersey. And so, can you tell us a bit about your space you have?
I have a studio in my home in Milburn, and of course I travel anywhere for design services. um, the as I mentioned, I do West Coast, East Coast, North, South, everywhere, anywhere that's possible. And then for my listing design refresh, that is really within a shorter distance of Milburn, New Jersey. But as an interior designer, I don't shop retail, so I'm not shopping at your Crate and Barrel and your Pottery Barn. As an interior designer, I'm using more trade exclusive furniture, upholsterers, etc. I have my whole roster of trades that I use for work around the house, because it's often not just about the furnishings, it's about lighting and painting and wallpaper, etc. So then I have a whole list of trades that I can utilize to make the process simple, easy, and fun. Should be fun.
And I agree, it should be. So, where can people find you, Risha? What is your
Uh,
website? What's your Instagram handle?
oh my gosh, I should know that right off.
Well, I'll just,
No, but my website is Walden-Interiors with an S.
yes.
Walden-Interiors with an S.com. I'm on Facebook, Walden Interiors, Instagram, Walden Interiors, LinkedIn. And yeah, if anybody has any questions, please reach out to me. I'm always happy to talk about veganism, interior design, food. Travel. I got lots of interests I
Yes.
like to talk about. Yeah.
I love it. Well, we'll be sure to put all of those links in the show notes.
Okay,
But in
good.
the meantime, Risha, thank you so much for hopping on with us and telling us about what you do and your passion. It was really a pleasure.
Thanks, Caroline. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.